Um, uh, we've talked a couple of times about how Ben Shapiro somehow they had a meeting at the Daily Wire, and somebody brought up the idea of you know what works really well on YouTube? Thumbnails where you look like a dipshit. You know, making a big face. And CSL's just going to mess with me, isn't he? He's going to take a big dumb face of mine and use it, isn't he? I shouldn't give him all this ammo. But anyway, so all of his videos for the last, like, this kind of shit, I have had this kind of like, faces. Like, can you believe it? And it's pretty hilarious. So, you guys know this turned a corner at some point, right? This, like, at some, he was like this kind of, and then he was like, oh shit, I'm getting swamped by, the dumb faces that Cenk or Anna make, so I've got to compete. So he started doing these, and apparently, Rusty Trombone got the same fucking memo. Like, at a certain point, if everything you see astounds you and horrifies you, I think, what do? You just, like, run out of dumb faces to make. So at this point, he just looks like he's about to be hit by a bus. And what are we supposed to take from this? What is it? Are we supposed to take that Russell is going, oh my God, Trump is jacking off a grown man into his hair? And that's his natural reaction. It seems like it would be if you came across that image. If somebody just held up their phone and went, "Hey," and you went, "Ah," you'd pull a dumb face like that. And so that, like, I don't know why this is a thing right now, but the two of them are obviously trying to out dipshit each other with their thumbnails. Also, do you see a theme in who gets time and who gets respect on Ben Shapiro's show and Russell's? You see any? I can't think of a comparison in terms of what political party is favored in the expression. Now, here's the big difference. Trump's indictment is in the middle of this picture of him and Pence. And Russell's just like, he's going old school. It's just it's one of those class picture ordering things where you just get, 2 4x4s and a sheet of 2x8s or whatever the pictures are. And now most of us saw Trump's arrest, what we were allowed to see, and knew the details of it. It's apparently been part of the conversation for a little bit here. Sorry, I'm just not making enough faces for this. And
here I am like an idiot.
So we've got Rusty Trombone here, who, if you're not familiar, Rusty here used to be a comedian, allegedly. I've never seen it in play, but I understand that as a sexually attractive addict, he got a lot of ass in London, and that automatically pushes you to the front of the line as far as comedians in England. That's the standard. That's what pegs the needle on quality in the London stand-up scene. So I sure hope those fuckers can take a joke. I'm not sure they can. Anyways, so look at the title of this. And again, Russell has been benefiting from the fact that Tucker's not on the air because he scooped up some of his audience here. But he's still, petered out at the same number. He hasn't really expanded his base. And it's large numbers, so it's hard to do once you get, he's about saturated. But Trump's arrest exposed the real story they're not telling you. So I didn't know, and you probably didn't know, that Russell was in the courtroom under, obviously Trump's bench, wherever, under the seat that Trump was in, laying on the floor. They had hooked up one of those gas masks like Dennis Hopper wore in Blue Velvet, and a hose going up to a hole in Trump's seat. And so we're going to get some inside info right now on what Russell knew and when he knew it. So
They don't like the gas.
at some point we'll learn something. We're not going to do the whole thing. It's long because I don't know what this dickhead is rambling about. And if you can't get to it right away, I don't know what.
Donald Trump is being...
Oh, God. What in the hell? All right, look. I was catching shit for wearing a tank top. Get off my back, you guys. I had a jacket on, and it was just hot. And that's that. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's like Paramahansa Blathernanda. What is this? What the ever-loving shit? I'm just a messiah in waiting. I'm wearing this outfit because it gives the illusion of spiritualism.
charged with the Espionage Act. Could that act be named the Get Rid of People We Don't Like Act, particularly if they don't want ongoing wars?
No, because Trump didn't end the Afghanistan war while he was in office. And if you listen to him talk, he intended on us to stay forever. Look up the Bagram Air Base shit, dum-dum. I really don't. I don't get it. Trump and the Espionage Act. Should we call it that we only use this on people we don't like? Now, the reason we don't like them is because they endanger the lives of everyone on the fucking planet. But
hello there, you 6.4 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage through truth and freedom. Turn on the notifications. You will get being charged with the Espionage Act. Threatens establishment interest. Now, you know we have...
How does he threaten establishment interest? He was president for 4 fucking years. He's a real estate mogul who owns golf courses. What kind of Che Guevara fucking red wash are you trying here? Are they trying to get rid of the common man in the form of a pussy-grabbing second-generation rich kid who owns more golf courses than are profitable and tries to commodify every fucking thing within 18 feet of him?
Complex perspectives on the phenomenon of Donald Trump. I know a lot of you like him. We have complex perspectives on the phenomenon of Donald Trump. I know a lot of you...
Look at that. I know a lot of you like him. He went, I know a lot of you don't like him, but I also know a lot of you do like him. And, a lot of you like him. And so they cut the part out where don't like him, because that's not true of anyone in Russell's audience. Russell's audience is Trump's audience. Those that are actually real anyways. I mean, look, bots of a feather. What am I going to tell you?
You like him. I know a lot of you don't like him. But what's very interesting is the possibility of the fact that the establishment is trying to bring him...
The establishment? Oh, you mean like the rich people that own a lot more property than they could ever fucking live in? That kind of establishment. The upper class New York real estate people who used to hang out with Jeffrey fucking Epstein.
Down using an act that they used successfully to put Assange in jail, to exile...
No. Assange isn't in our jail. He's not in American jail. He hasn't been extradited to the United States. He hid in the Ecuadorian embassy. The Ecuadorian embassy does not qualify as an American prison. We have a legal system here. He has to be tried and found guilty in a court of law to be put in jail. And by the way, if somehow this asshole is going to tie that the monarchy in the UK is somehow behind the use of the Espionage Act in the United States, because this former colony, if it truly is one, is trying to uphold our national security laws.
Well, Edward Snowden. Is it possible that the Espionage Act...
I'm sorry, wait, what?
Assange in jail to exile Edward Snowden.
Yeah, hi, stupid. I know you're, look at this. We got reading eyes. He's looking at his notes. He wrote down jail, Assange, exile, Edward, okay. Glenn Greenwald did more to exile Edward Snowden than anybody here did. Reality Winner is out of fucking jail. So is Chelsea Manning. They did their time. They respectfully saw what they did as duty to the country. And so these other two fuckers who keep trying to run away for some reason under this idea that they're going to be put on, in Guantanamo and hit with a fucking rubber hose is bullshit, because that's the mythology that they make money on.
Is it possible that the Espionage Act has become a catch-all piece of legislation to...
No. No. You know why? Because we're only trying to catch people who've taken top secret documents and hit them in the shitter of a fucking country club. If it was a catch-all, there's tons of people I'm sure the government would love to scoop the fuck up and charge with the Espionage Act.
Shut down voices that threaten powerful interests and...
What? I'm sorry. A dude who owns 16 golf courses isn't quote-unquote a powerful interest?
Again, I say this from the perspective of someone who is not a MAGA hat wearing Trump...
Bullshit. Citation needed.
But respect...
Bullshit.
For those of you that...
No. He is. Like, if you have to say... I think Migandi does protest too much.
Hate the establishment from any perspective. Much of the content we...
I what?
Respect for those of you that hate the establishment from any perspective.
Yes. The whole thing is the structure of functioning society and democracy. That's the thing I hate. You know, the thing that's made me rich and lets me live in a gated area of London in $1 million house and have a studio that, is worth millions of dollars, but has sort of a rustic Tucker Carlson, I like wood kind of a feel to it. I hate that. I hate it. I'm not leaving anytime soon. Not until I've got Jack Dorsey money. I'm not moving to fucking Philippines. I'm just going to dress like I have.
Much of the content we're creating for you today comes from the website of the World Socialist Organization.
Yes, an ironically named site.
So this, whatever it may be, is not a right-wing take. And
yes, it is. First of all, have you never heard of horseshoe theory? Second of all, just because you name something that I've got news for you. The Freedom Caucus is against women's right to choose. See how that works?
Yeah, it is saying that the establishment are trying to bring down Trump, not because they believe he's a criminal, but because they believe he's a threat.
That's because well, we'll see which, I don't even know the site he's going to do. But in general, when you've got the super far lefties who are backing Trump under the illusion that, he's somehow being wronged by the same people that wrong us, it's just, they're just trying to tear down a system they've been unsuccessful at tearing down while they thrive within it.
Good evening once again.
Oh, yes, the Socialist website that is MSNBC.
I'm Stephanie Rule. This...
Hi, Stephanie Rule. We like Stephanie, by the way. Adorable.
Was a day unlike...
Very smart lady.
Any
don't
other...
agree on everything. Why would I?
In American history. Donald Trump, a former commander-in-chief, appeared in a court as a defendant in a case brought by the government he once ran.
You can see that the mainstream media have almost been briefed to say this is a historic event.
They don't have to be briefed, you dumb fuck. It is. It's what are they supposed to say? It's not. This is going to be it's the new norm, ladies and gentlemen. What? Of course. It's almost like the news has been briefed to bring up relevant details that are different than something that's happened before, therefore making it news. What a tit.
This is unprecedented. They are amplifying the significance of these events.
No, they aren't. They're not amplifying the significance. They are pointing out the significance, the novelty of this very thing. You twit.
I'm not arguing that they are not significant, but if you...
Oh, God. I'm not saying they're lying or saying something untrue. I'm just saying that they're saying it. And it is something they would normally say, but I don't know why they shouldn't say it, but I don't like it.
Compare them to the evident war crimes, alleged war crimes of George Bush, the...
Hold on. Hold on, fuckhead. You're about to do a what about. And that whataboutism is based on a massive falsehood. And that massive falsehood is that somehow, unlike his predecessors, Donald Trump never did drone strikes or gave arms to evil regimes or any of the stuff that you're going to lambast Bush and Obama and Clinton for, allegedly, because all wars are bad and America bad all the time. And like if we stop the Kosovo slaughter, that's the same as us invading Iraq, and it's 6 of one, half dozen of another, and blah blah blah. But while Trump was in, their problem is he just was going to show war plans. He didn't carry any out. Yes, he fucking did. Civilian deaths because of American military action went up 80% in the first year Trump was president. He ended up with 80% more dead in that year than the entire 8 years Obama was president.
Proprieties of Bill Clinton, the handling of the financial crisis by Barack Obama.
The handling of, you mean the rescuing of the actual fucking economy and the fact that Tesla wouldn't exist? Tell me again, Russell. Tell me about how cool Elon Musk is, and I'll tell you how he's been living off the government tit since the handling of the economic crisis by Barack Obama.
I would say that this is a comparable event. And just to show you that I'm not a pro-Trump person, I think it's worse that Trump gave tax breaks to the richest
I think it's worse than drone strikes.
Americans that negatively impacted ordinary Americans.
Ordinary Americans like you, people I see sometimes. That some of them are in my audiences. I don't like them. I eat as far away from them as I possibly can. I tell them it's an organic thing.
Like you. And I think that if he's going to be prosecuted for anything, it should be that. So let's look at this.
Yes, prosecute him for getting a tax break signed while he was in office as a Republican president. Getting, spies murdered, giving, aid and comfort to the fucking Russians who are, and by the way, let me just boil this down to the simplest form. This dickhead is rooting for more buchas in Ukraine, while saying the worst thing Trump did was his tax cut.
In a little more detail, is the Espionage Act being used to bring Trump down?
Yes, do you ever notice he's reading these scripts more? This has turned into a production, hasn't it? I mean, there's still editing a lot. Maybe that's why there's more editing. Oh, that makes so much fucking sense. Okay, so it seems choppier than usual, and it's because he's reading. That's not... Usually you want to be editing because you're talking off the cuff and you want to tighten stuff up. Maybe fix a word flub or eliminate some ums. But,
Same way it was Assange and Snowden? Or is there a genuine concern that Trump was a threat to national security? Let me know in the comments. And
tell me this thing engaged with me in an artificial way that YouTube helps to push my show up in the algorithm. But see this graphic that's thrown on, but I'm an indie. But I am engaging in the sales methodology of Google. Let me know in the comments section how much you want to boost this video.
The chat is...
And obviously I have to put that in there so that when we buy views from India and they have those walls of telephones watching my videos over and over again, that I can point to the fact that I told people to comment. I didn't say they had to actually be relevant or actually watch it.
Is this a witch hunt, or is this a legitimate judicial inquiry?
Inside the courtroom, Mr. Trump sitting with arms tightly crossed for much of the hearing that lasted less than an hour.
What's that supposed to mean? What's that additional detail? His arms are crossed. His arms are tightly crossed. Maybe.
Because we've all seen Trump when he's uncomfortable. Because there weren't any drawings yet. Because it is one of the biggest arraignments in American history.
Because he's got some secret documents under there.
Inside, Trump was arraigned on 37 felony counts, 31 of them in violation of the Espionage Act.
Now, how is the espionage frequently used, and why is...
How is espionage frequently used? Well, I think people just descend on a string into a vault and try not to sweat on the sensors.
It deployed? It
means the Espionage Act, but again, at this point, we're not editing anymore. Fuck it. In for a penny, in for a pound.
Is it in order to pursue justice, or is it in order to shut down dissent? On Tuesday, for the first time in US...
Yeah, what they were sick of was Trump's protests. Yeah, they were shutting down dissent. That's why.
history, a former president was arraigned.
The Democratic Party, Donald Trump, and the espionage site WSWS.org.
In court for violating federal criminal law. The decision to indict Donald Trump reflects profound divisions within the ruling class.
Oh, They say it's, look, they're admitting it. The World Socialist website service.org is admitting we have a ruling class. They're saying it. I'm not saying it. They're saying it. I mean, I had to Google to find someone who would call, the people who went after him the ruling class. That's how I ended up at wuss.org.
And accelerates a crisis that will rattle the foundations of the American political establishment in the coming weeks and months.
Profound divisions within the ruling class and accelerates a crisis that will rattle the foundation of the American political establishment in the coming weeks and months. You say that like it's a bad thing.
The indictment centers on Trump's retention of state secrets relating to U.S. imperialism's plans for war.
Yes. We imperialistically prepared a plan to retaliate against Iran if Iran attacks Israel. Something they obviously would never even think of doing and never even talk about it doing.
Many of you, when sticking up for Donald Trump, often cite the fact that he was a rare example of a president that didn't go to war. Now, I think some drone strikes continued and stuff like
Some. He removed the rules of engagement to prevent civilian deaths that Obama put on. You fucking tool. He removed them. He basically said kill away. He thought Obama was being a pussy. Some drone strikes. This motherfucker.
that, but at least he didn't start any new.
He didn't start any new. Nah, he didn't end any, did he? By the way, Biden hasn't started any new wars. And if you're like, but what about Ukraine? I'm fairly certain. Well, I don't know how. Biden, to start the Russian war, the attack on Ukraine, Biden would have to have his ass so far, have his, let me build this. He would have to have his hand so far up Putin's ass that he could feel Trump's shoe.
Wars. So this is an interesting take that the establishment in its imperialist aims requires ongoing war. That's a difficult.
Oh, okay. So the establishment needs ongoing war. So, Trump didn't start any new ones. He was busy doing kind of that about kind of creating asylum crises and border displacement, which is the effect of war, around our southern border and that kind of stuff, missing abducted children, that kind of shit. And then just continuing the ones we were in. Right. Okay.
Thing to contradict. It appears that companies like Lockheed Martin, sponsors of gay pride, bizarrely, and Raytheon and Northrop Grumman have incredible power. And as part of a corporate body.
Yeah. We're only defending the Ukrainians because Lockheed Martin is making us. All right. This military-industrial complex shit has jumped the shark. I would argue there's a case for a variance of the MIC idea, or even, quite frankly, the Dick Cheney's ties to Halliburton and the idea that we can use the military and the industries around it to destroy a shit ton of Iraq, and then Halliburton will get to rebuild it, a part of which Cheney owns. That was much closer to the reality of the situation. He was in the rebuilding process. Like, we're going to wreck this fucking place, and then the government's going to pay me to build it back up, and I'm going to skate on that fucking money. There's more of a case to be made that the Iraq war was about Halliburton's profits than it was about Raytheon or any of these other companies.
That is the true governing power of the United States of America.
Horseshit.
Let me know in the comments.
Horseshit. But say that. Say yes and no and yes and no. And by the way, fuck the troops. Yeah. Anybody who uses that gear, obviously, tacitly, implicitly guilty in the military-industrial complex. I mean, the foot soldiers of the military-industrial complex are indeed the soldiers themselves. So, fuck veterans and anybody who's actually done any of this stuff. Let me know in the comments how awful they are.
Able to impose their aims and desires on the governing administration. So you have to decide, as a viewer, as an American, as a citizen of the world, what do you think motivates the establishment? A required
The establishment. There's one. There's one establishment. Well, I think probably just to stay established. Yeah. You're not talking about this whole we hold these truths to be self-evident. We establish, yeah.
For justice, a longing for righteousness? Or do you think, having observed society for a while now, that dominion and profit appear to be the main motivators when it comes to the actions of the powerful? Let me know in the
comments. Fuck off with this comment shit. I'm like, this is just tiresome. I'm done. The fascinating part of this dickhead to me is it is become knee-jerk. His entire description of how the world works is now a rubber stamp, and it's gotten like smaller and smaller and smaller to like it's to the point where he's selling this kind of self-evident conspiracy concept. And Tucker does the same fucking thing. He might as well, at one point, like I said, hippie Alex Jones is the direction, but now that Tucker's been broomed aside, that what the money you really go for until Tucker gets released from contract, or he, he could always give the money back. One of the ways that he could get out of his Fox contract is buy out the rest of his contract. He's rich. Why don't you fucking do that? If freedom's so important, give them back their $60 million or whatever the fuck for the next 2 years. It's probably 120 for the next, because of the rest of his contract. So he could do it. He could absolutely fucking do it. But that's what Russell's scooping up that Tucker Carlson idea, that there's a they, and they don't want you to, and they tell you how to, and this is how you're supposed to behave. And they're going to tell you that and that you think these things, but that's because you're awful. And they want you to know that. And you're not even allowed to say what you know is true. Like this, it's a fucking, like, I don't even know why they bother to type up a new script every fucking day. Good Lord.